Otherwise, you are gonna fail like I did. Shouldn't I write the requirements? And that is how you are gonna lead developers to achieve the result. Well, when you are a product owner, nobody's gonna prove that. Hi, I'm David Pereira. Welcome to my channel. In today's episode, I want to talk to you about something very common, a transition from business analyst to product owner. And this is something I've done in 2012. But before we go into the discussion, similar to the product owner role, companies understand the business analyst differently. And here I would like to share which kind of business analyst I was. I was the one on the business side trying to understand the business model and creating specifications for developers to implement our solutions. There are other types of business analysts. There are some that are focused on the report, some that are focused on understanding future markets, but I think it is possible to become a product owner from being a business analyst, and it's very helpful actually. But there are some points you should pay very close attention to. Otherwise, you are gonna fail like I did. Let's start with the first aspect, communication over documentation. When I was a business analyst, I was like the master of writing long documentations. I wrote specification of 50 pages. The reason for that is I wanted to know everything upfront, and I wanted to ensure developers would have all the information they needed to implement the solution I planned with the business. And here is the trap, because when I became a product owner, actually I didn't try to be a product owner. I just adapted the role and I was something similar to a business owner because I wanted to ensure developers would still follow the rules I defined. And that's not how it works. A business analyst focuses on the requirements, on the business needs, and giving all the information for developers to implement. And you see here, as a product owner, actually, you are part of the team and you don't focus on writing documentation. Actually, product owners don't deliver anything. You focus on defining the goals to pursue, and then the team will find ways to get that. And you are also part of the team. You may tell me, okay, but I'm accountable for the backlog. Shouldn't I write the requirements? You should write product backlog items. And these are problems to solve, opportunities to benefit from, but it is not requirements to follow. So that is a difference. Once you come from business analysis, it's very easy for you to adapt the scenario to still follow requirements. But don't stick to that, because product owners, they enable teams to solve problems. That is a difference. And the second aspect is the silo effect. As a business analyst, most probably you work on a business area and then you hand documents to developers and they implement. But you see, you are in different teams. But once you become a product owner, you are not in a different team and you are also not in a different hierarchy. You are part of this current team and everyone is going in the same direction. And what happens many times is business analysts focus on defining what to do and then they expect developers to implement that. It's a kind of service provider relationship. When that happens, it generates a silo effect and it's like me and you. It doesn't work like that. It's like we are on the same page. We work together towards the same goal. It's critical for you to be part of the team if you want to excel in your career. If the team doesn't perceive you as belonging to the team, the relationship is gonna be crap. You have to find a way to integrate and together you find solutions for the goals you define to achieve. And connecting to this is the thinking of a business analyst. You know, when I was a business analyst, I wanted to know every minor detail of the solution. I wanted to know what would happen if the user clicks here, what would happen if the user tries to do this. In the documentation, I did everything. And once you become a product owner, you should have the goal in mind, but you don't know how to get there. Now let's talk about the third trap ahead of you. This is what I call thinking upfront. When I was a business analyst, the truth is I wanted to predict the future. I want to know what would happen when the user used the solution. And to be honest, it's impossible to know that. You cannot invest this amount of time trying to know every single exception and corner case that was going to happen with your solution. Because the truth is, what matters is the outcome, the result your solution generates, and the solution is just the output. And we don't know what is going to happen until we test with the end user. And what you should focus on is the impact you want to achieve. And that is how you are going to lead developers to achieve the result. But if you try to think an all edge case possible in the solution, you will never get there. And keep something in mind. Done is better than perfect. And what you want to pursue as a product owner is to validate your ideas. And you don't want something perfect, you want something good enough, and you want to keep delivering and iterating to the solution. It is fine to embrace ignorance in this aspect, and it's beautiful because a business analyst, it's easy just to try to predict the future, as I did, and you want to know everything. But a product owner, actually, you know that you don't know everything, and it's fine. You only know the goal you want to achieve, and there's a road ahead of you, and you figure out that. And how you get to the result is the most important. But the solution, well, you don't know that until you start working and testing as fast as possible, which connects me to another point, which is making decisions. Business analysts generally don't make any decision. I was more like a consultant. I would suggest behaviors to be implemented. I would suggest something for the business to approve. But I wouldn't approve anything, and we would only start developing once someone from a high level would approve. For example, I would create this specification and executives would approve that. Well, when you are a product owner, nobody's going to approve that. You need to make the decision what goes to the next sprint. You need to make the decision what is important to implement and what is not. What you should agree with the business is what is the impact you want to achieve? What is the KPI you need to improve? You make agreements with the business and then you make decisions to reach the agreement. It is never about transferring decisions to the business. Sometimes you need to decide which direction to take, which KPI to improve. That is fine to make it together with the business. But once you have the direction, you need to make decisions all the time. And as a business analyst, generally, we shift decisions. That's what I did. I shift decisions to another people. But as a product owner, if you do that, you will fail because product owners are responsible for maximizing the value. And to reach this mission, you need to be bold and make decisions. And not all of your decisions are going to please everyone. And that is how it should be. You don't aim for consensus. You aim for alignment. The last part, which is a big trap, is how fast can you learn? As I mentioned, business analysts focus on the entire solution. But you don't know if the solution is going to work. How many assumptions do you have there? How many of them have you validated? You need to validate the assumptions and then you can find the right solution. It's more or less like this. You have the destination where you want to be, but you don't know how to get there. At the very beginning, you have assumptions. For example, users have a problem that they need solved, but you don't know if they are willing to pay to solve that problem. You don't know if your solution is going to solve their problem. You need to validate these assumptions before you start implementing the whole solution. And the faster you validate, the bigger are the chance of succeeding. You need to find ways to test your business ideas. You need to find a way of connecting to the end users. And this is a difference because product owners are very connected to the end users and business analysts are very connected to the business. And you need to know then who your customer is. Stakeholders are not your customers, but they are also not your enemies. They are your partners. But once they push you to implement something, you should ask them, what assumptions do we have? Have we validated them? How can we validate them? Don't take what they ask you as a requirement to implement. Take that as something to explore and prove if it's right or not. Because if you focus on implementing a requirement that is wrong, it may be what your stakeholders want, but not what your users need. And then, at the end of the day, you fail as a product owner. So this is the difference that you need to keep in mind. Because if you try to be a product owner with the business analyst mindset, you will fail. You need to have a value-driven mindset to succeed. But your background as a business analyst will help you to become a great product owner. But you need to move out of your comfort zone. So to summarize everything I have just said, as a product owner, you focus on communication over documentation. You know you are part of the Scrum team and you are not above them. You are on the same hierarchical level. So this is the difference. And also, you accept you don't know everything up front. You set a goal to pursue and then together you evaluate how to get there. And whenever someone comes to you with a requirement to implement, you ask which are the assumptions behind it, and you strive to validate assumptions before you start implementing. And you know who your customer is. Your customer is not your stakeholder. Your customer is who use your software. And you connect to this person to validate your hypothesis and make the solution better. I'm curious to know if you have done the transition from business analyst to a product owner, or if you are willing to do so. Write the comments. I'm curious to know more about you. And if you want to know more content similar to this one, just subscribe for more. And don't forget to hit the like button. Thanks for watching.